Hey there, this is Clara Bellino. I'm on the air right now with a very dear friend from a radio station, Fish Creek Radio in Michigan, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. This is the first volume of a new show that we've started with my team called Time to Turn the Tables. I was very fortunate, my team and I were very fortunate to meet Richard and his radio station when we did a crowdfunding campaign. I think we first met in 2014, and fast forward, we decided to turn the tables. So we started this series called Time to Turn the Tables, where we get to interview the people who have supported us and find out about them. And in the interest of, some scientists have said that goldfish have a longer attention span than humans do. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask a few questions. We're gonna try and keep this moving. And we welcome you to Time to Turn the Tables. I am broadcasting from Eclectic Gallery in Oakland, California on Piedmont Avenue. And I am now going to please welcome Richard Bedell from Fish Creek Radio. Hi, Richard. Welcome. Say hello, and I'll ask you my first question.
Clara, thank you so much. I totally appreciate that intro. And I love the fact that you're hanging with Jimmy and Janice today.
I know. I just thought, why not? We have all this wonderful art at Eclectic Gallery, and I thought we should have some good company and good juju going on while we are, not that we don't bring it ourselves, but while we are doing this interview. So my first question for you is, what initially motivated you to want to work in radio, and how long have you been doing that?
Ever since I was a young child, I was a music lover.
Uh-huh.
And I remember growing up listening to the radio, and I was very young, maybe 9 or 10, when I went, hey, I could do that someday. Mm-hmm. Then I actually started working in radio at doing volunteer college radio when I was like 14.
Wow. Okay. And so what's the structure of Fish Creek Radio, and why did you choose Fish Creek as the name for your radio?
Well, Fish Creek came, I went from working full-time to being permanently disabled. So I had a lot of free time on my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, one day I thought, well, I'll start an internet radio station. And in a very cool nature spot up in northern Michigan, way back in the woods, my sister and brother-in-law live on a road called Fish Creek Road.
Aww.
And they own a little company called Fish Creek Soap Works that makes handmade soaps and stuff like that. So when I was thinking about names, I just went, yeah, Fish Creek Radio, and that just kind of stuck.
It's a beautiful name, and so how many people are involved in Fish Creek Radio?
There are 7 or 8 of us that I know face to face, that I have, I've had physical relationships with.
Yeah.
And then we have 5 shows that come to us from people that I've never met. They just send us their shows every week.
Okay, awesome.
So about 14, 15 people.
14, 15 people involved in the production of it. And how many hours a week do you dedicate to it? And how do you decide what is live and what is pre-recorded?
Well, we're on the air 24/7, 365.
Wow.
I myself personally dedicate anywhere from 40 to 60 hours, depending. But those aren't working hours. Mm-hmm. When you've broadcasted it in internet radio long enough, especially, we build all of our playlists by hand.
Uh-huh.
And I can build a 15-hour playlist in about 5 minutes. So I spend a lot of time getting to listen to what I put together.
That's awesome. And since you love music so much, I know, I get the sense, I've known this about you, that you just absolutely love music and what it does, not just for you, but for all the people who love it. And I want to ask you, do you make a living with Fish Creek? And if not, do you foresee being able to do so?
At this current point, I make a little bit of a living with Fish Creek.
Uh-huh.
Here's what I mean by that. We don't sell any advertising on radio because it's Fish Creek Radio is all about musical exploration and musical therapy. And
Awesome.
nobody wants to hear macaroni and cheese with their music. So we just don't sell any ads. What we do have is we have a Patreon channel and we have a few people that help out,
Yeah.
kind of, with the monthly expenses and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
then, I'm just one of, like I said, 14 or 15 people associated with the station. And those guys have all volunteered their time to help with all of the programming every week. And it really just kind of turns into a real collective approach to radio.
And that's awesome. And so, since you don't take corporate sponsors or advertising, how do you find the sponsors who support you because they care about what you're doing?
Well, we want them to like the music, first of all.
Hmm.
Then we encourage everyone, check out our Patreon page. If you want to, sponsor a couple bucks here or there, that's great. But we don't really have like an active program going to go out and solicit sponsors
Yeah.
because for me, Fish Creek Radio was never about the money. It's always been about music.
About the love of music, and I know that one of the things that's dear to you, and it's intrinsic in everything you've been talking about, is that you've always thought about music as therapy. It's musical therapy, and I remember when we first talked, I said, well, how does musical therapy fit in with you? Fit in for you with running a radio? And your answer was, I'm going to let you answer, but how does it fit in?
That's our entire station, all of the programming. Most radio stations back in the day when I was working in radio and listening to a lot of commercial radio, they rotated somewhere between 400 to maybe 1,000 songs.
Yeah.
We have over 100,000 songs in our database, and that grows every day. We're a huge supporter of indie musicians, and we encourage indie musicians to, always submit their work to us.
Yeah.
And so that's how it works out. Musical therapy becomes the daily mission, if you will, to take one song or one idea and build an entire show or an entire day off of that one idea.
That is awesome. And we as indie musicians really appreciate people like you, real people who actually, are about musical exploration and the gifts of music and what it does for people's souls. And I want to ask you a couple more questions where,
Sure.
what would you say to someone who hasn't yet, but really wants to be in or run or work at a radio station? What would you be to a novice who's like, same thing that you were, when you were 9, 10 years old, going, wow, I love this and I want to be part of it. Would you have some recommendation or inspiration to share with them about what you would recommend?
I would totally encourage them to volunteer their time at like a college radio station,
Mhm.
to totally check out internet radio. But it's not a, hey, I'm going to start a radio station and suddenly I'm going to be a wealthy human being. No, you have to do it for the love of the music and for the idea. Everybody always asks me, well, how many people are listening? And I don't care how many people are listening. I care that the broadcast is out there for people to listen to if they want.
Yeah. Well, yeah, good for you. It's like you do it for the love, and you're not, checking every second how many people were on the air, and you just do.
So I would,
Go ahead.
sorry, I would encourage them, to just decide if it's really something that they're passionate about and they really want to do it, to, check out internet radio or check out volunteer opportunities or even entry level positions in radio. There are a lot of them.
Yeah, and I would add to that the contact Richard Bedell at Fish Creek Radio anywhere he can be found, which is on Facebook or one of the many places, and connect with him because that may be the place
Absolutely.
that you could start discovering how to go about doing what you love, which kind of leads to my last or almost last question, which is, what would you, Richard Bedell, thank you so much for being here today. What would you like to happen with this short interview? You know, what would be your ideal outcome from people meeting with you this way, discovering you this way, hearing about Fish Creek Radio this way? What would you like them to do? It's your chance to, you know, to give your call to action. It's there's a reason that we created this interview, is to thank you for what you've been doing for us. And I know I'm very excited to be coming to Austin in March and be part of the Independent Music Festival that you guys are all putting together. So we're just, you know, we're trying to be part of a thing that is bigger than just us, which is supporting each other. So my question to you, since you've been so supportive of us, is what would you like the people who just watched this interview to do to support you and to you know, to answer their questions? Call to action is all yours.
Check us out. Listen to us. Give us a listen. You know,
Yeah.
if you hate what you're hearing, wait 5 minutes. The song will change. I promise. But just kind of check it out. Make it a part of your day. You know, I think that everybody needs music in their day. And there are a lot of people that forget that. They forget that there's a musical source out there that's different than all of the cookie cutter stuff that's ever been heard.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you are definitely one of those sources. And I can't imagine anybody hating your radio station, because you do have a variety of music. It's a very broad spectrum of independent music, and it's well represented that way. And so,
Thank you very much.
yeah, you guys have, I love, as an independent artist, I mean, I love you guys for many reasons, but I love that when I go to your radio station, I mean, I love all kinds of music as a musician. But when I go to your station, you know, there's country and there's independent and there's rock and there's whatever. There's just, the love of music is the predominant thing. And so I want to ask you kind of a quick surprise little question here at the end, which is, what do you attribute? I love the posts that you make on Facebook. They're always really funny. And I think, and what do you attribute your sense of humor to? Because you are somebody who, on a daily basis, when I, you know, watch what you do, include humor in what you do. So where do you think that came from?
Thank you, and I appreciate that. My love for humor comes from my hate for crying. So, you know, every situation in life, you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it and say, oh, I'm going to be sad about this situation, and I'm going to, you know, it's just going to defeat me. Or you can go, hey, laugh about it. Jimmy had to take a nap. Hey,
I know, Jimmy was like, you guys, I'm sleepy. Sorry. Don't mean to interrupt what you're saying.
Done. But yeah, no, you know, you have to laugh about things, because if you don't laugh, why? You know, I couldn't imagine a day without laughter. And I love the fact that, like, on social media, I have so many friends. And huge shout out to my friends at Indiana Records and my friends at Texas Indie Fest. Yes. We love those guys. Yes. But I have a bunch of friends that provide me with that daily humor and that, you know, one more joke and one more laugh.
Yeah. Well, I love that about you and about you guys and about your community. And actually, it's because you made me laugh that I knocked over Jimmy here. So there you go. He was a victim of my ribs going, ah! And I went, oh, sorry, Jimmy.
Poor Jimmy.
Poor Jimmy. I think he'll survive. His spirit is forever living. Thank you so much for being here today. I look forward to airing this interview and posting it places and asking people to connect with you and to support you. And look forward to our actually first real encounter at the festival in March, right?
Yep, Texas Indie Fest. That is going to be absolutely incredible. That'll be a lot of fun.
Texas Indie Fest, looking forward to it. Thank you to Jeff Popka as well, and you and James Brigger and Scott Wickley and all of you who do all this for music. And have a beautiful rest of the day. And we can still talk when we're done. I'm just going to first stop this recording. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Okay, where is it? There.